your emotions over the last 72 hours? What was your reaction when you found out the news and being named interim coach? And what have you done? Have you had you sleep over the last 3 days?
Yeah, slept pretty well. I think you just, in moments like this, you just have to stay empathetic. You have to stay poised, and you have to stay focused on, what's the most important thing. And the most important thing for me is making sure that the players and myself are on the same page, making sure we're focused on the expectations that we have for this season from a basketball standpoint, and how we move forward together, building trust, building relationships. I think that's key.
How much of how much time have you had to just prepare for this, and how do you prepare jumping into it so quickly as opposed to knowing that you're going to be the head coach from the whole offseason?
Yeah. I'm in a fortunate situation because I've been here for 3 years, and we've had the off season to kind of prepare for what we wanted to do heading into the season. So there's not much to change at all. I think it's just about learning from last season and then how do we get better. So I'm really relying on the relationships that I've built in the 3 years here, especially with the players and the organization, and just kind of moving forward one day at a time.
Hey, Joe. There's obviously with you being head coach, your spot as the assistant is open. Do you plan on adding to your staff? Is that something that you'll be making individually or working with Brad on? What are your plans there?
Yeah, I think we'll make that decision together. I think the last thing in a moment like this is to rush into something. I think it's about really just taking your time, seeing what is best for the players, what is best for the organization, and then just making sure we're patient in that. So I think we'll do that together.
Right here, right side here.
Yep.
Joe, what do you think the challenge is going to be for you, given that the players just kind of learned that Ime isn't going to be coaching this year over the last couple of days? Just what has kind of been the reactions they've had in conversation with you so far, and what's going to kind of be your message for the team?
I mean, the message is first to give people space and time, not just for the players, but for everybody. It's an unfortunate situation for everyone involved, and so you have to give people the time and space to feel and the time and space to heal. And so that's key. You can't rush anything. And, the great thing about this organization, the players that we have, and the season last year is we have a formula for what we know we need to do in order to get better every single day and get back to where we want to get to. And so as much as we can focus on that, we'll be in good shape.
Considering the way you're coming into the job, it's not the same way that Ime came into the job with the big hiring process. How much do you feel like you need to establish your place at the top of the leadership, the way that it works for this organization, or do you feel like the relationships you've already built allow you to just kind of have that happen naturally?
I mean, the last thing I want to do is that. I think I want to. I don't think I know. I think it's more of a collaboration. I think we have to do this together. I don't think we need to speed up authority or speed up decisions or speed up identity. I think we have to be patient. We have to really rely on the foundations that we built as far as relationships and the foundations and habits that we built on the basketball court because they're successful. And so I think that's the most important thing is focus on all the things we were great at as a team, and then how can we evolve and make those even better to get to where we want to go.
Joe, at the press conference on Friday, Brett and Wick both talked about how hard it was to watch some of the other female employees on the team be dragged through the Twitter speculation with the allegations against Ime. I'm wondering, was that how hard for you to watch? And I guess what are you doing to move forward, especially those female employees who feel like they were through this?
Yeah, like I said, I think it's about really being patient, giving people, this situation has affected everybody. It's affected everyone. And being as patient as we can and giving people time to feel and heal, I think, are the two most important things. And, you can't rush trust, you can't rush healing, you can't rush any of that. And so just being present for whoever needs us to be present for, I think, is key. And being support for everyone, I think, are the things that I'm focused on to help. Yep.
Right here. Joe, said that you're going to talk with Brad about coaching and assistants and so forth. Is there interest in your part on bringing in somebody from the outside who would effectively be your guy?
I mean, again, I don't know that it's about that. I thought one of the biggest strengths of our team last year were our relationships, players, staff dynamics. I think all that is important. So to come in and try to rush something that is what's best for our players is not something I'm looking to do. So it's not about whose guy or whose it is. Great players, and our staff dynamics are strong, and I really trust that. And I've watched all of us work. We all work together, so we have great collaboration. I think it's about on that.
Joe, over here, back here. You said before we have a formula. Can you talk about what that is, like what the mission statement of that is for basketball?
Yeah.
And did that stem from Ime when he came in last year? And do you feel like you're just carrying that on?
For sure. I think, again, it's not about carrying on persons. It's about carrying on the identity of our players. And so, we had our struggles early last season, but at our best, we knew what our identity was. It was our defense. It was our buy-in from a defensive standpoint. And then it was sharing the ball and moving quickly on the offensive end. So as much as we can stick to the things that we were great at last year, and then find small areas to improve along the way is the right way to go.
Joe, the mixed emotions from getting probably what is a dream job, but on the other side, the circumstances of it. And have you had conversations with Ime over the last couple of days, and has he given you his blessing, or what's those conversations been like?
Like I said out to everybody, I've talked to everyone in the organization, and I thought it was my job to listen and give space and time and ask people what they need. So I've worked to do that for everyone in the organization, since the news is broke.
Just a technical point, and you said you've reached out to everyone in the organization. Considering the previous coach isn't part of the organization, have you spoken with him?
I've spoken to everyone who's I feel like has been needed to be spoken to, and the people that I've built relationships with. So yes.
Joe, I think one of the things that caught people by surprise was when Brad spoke the other day, he was very adamant that he felt you were the right guy for the position. Why do you think he feels so strongly? You haven't had a lot of experience as a head coach. Yeah. Why such a strong endorsement for Brad in your skill set?
He had a concussion that day, I think. No, listen, you're never really ready. I've been a head coach before, and what I learned from year one, two, from that standpoint was I wasn't ready. And it's not because I didn't work at it. It's not because I didn't prepare. It's because, there's certain things that you have to learn on the job. And so year two was much different than year one for me. And I'm really able to pull from those experiences. And so I think it's more about just pulling from those experiences. And then listen, I worked for a lot of great head coaches and played for great head coaches. And I think it's about taking a formula of what worked for those guys and how I can make it into, making these players better.
Are you as confident as he is? And how does the interim title affect your position?
I am as confident as he is, and I can't focus on that. Like I said, at the end of the day, regardless of what has happened, we have a great roster and we have a great opportunity. And, I think that's what I have to focus on and get this team where it needs to go.
Joe, right in front of you. Brad also said when bringing up your hiring process back in 2019 that he's addressed and vetted 2008 and 2009. He said you've changed for the better since then. How do you feel you've changed since then? And have you spoken about that with this team?
Of course. Listen, I've made mistakes. I'm not perfect. I've hurt people, and I've had to use the situations I put myself in as a younger man. I've had to use to learn from and to become a better person. And that's what I've tried to focus on is how can I recreate my identity as a person? How can I rely on my faith? And how can I just have a positive impact on the people around me? And I've always had good people around me.
Referencing that, can you kind of, it's obviously a long time has passed, 13, 14 years, but can you kind of shed some light on the incidents and how you kind of moved on from it and didn't let it kind of derail your future and what actually kind of took place?
I can't talk about specifics of that, but what I can talk about is I'm not the same person that I was. And I think as you grow as a person, you're constantly having to build an identity. And, I didn't have an identity at a certain point in my life for whatever reason. And I think it's how can I develop an identity? How can I find a foundation, which for me is my faith? And then how can I, impact people positively around me? And that's something that I've really learned, throughout my life.
Again, I was going to sort of follow up with a similar thing. You've mentioned a couple times that you've sort of built a foundation and, kind of what would you consider that to be if you were going to describe it to people?
My identity. I know who I am.
Yeah.
I know why I got into coaching. I think I know my why. I think, especially growing up, if you don't have a compass, it's very hard to direct yourself. And so you have to learn that on your own sometimes. And so, for me, my identity has come from my faith and it's come from my purpose. And, I got into coaching because I've had people pour into me. I've had people sacrifice for me. And I want to reciprocate that to my players and to the people around me.
And sort of along those lines, you alluded to the fact that you guys turned things around midway through last year. You want to build on that. Do you have specific things that you envision doing significantly differently on the court wise, or is it really more just a matter of continuing what you guys are doing the second half?
It's definitely continuing what I have been doing, and really it's the same answer to that question is like identity. For the team last year, we were figuring each other out. We were figuring out what the strengths and weaknesses were as far as players and staff. And, once that identity clicked, we were really able to, kind of move forward. And I think it's the same thing. Like the questions we're going to ask ourselves as a team is what worked well, what didn't, and what do we need to move on to get to where we want to go.
Final couple questions. Go John first.
You talk about the emotions, and this has been a bombshell for everybody. How much of a setback is this for preparing a team for a season, and a season that most people expect to be contending for a championship? How much does this kind of stunt the team's development as you try to get over that and try to impart what you're trying to do?
Yeah. I mean, again, if I want the Celtics to be successful, if I want our players to be successful, I shouldn't be focused on what I'm trying to do. It's what is best for our players. And so as much as we can focus on that, my question would be, why do things have to change? And it's only my job to focus on the execution standpoint. How do we execute our togetherness? How do we execute, maximizing the potential of our roster? And then how do we execute our habits on the offense and defensive end of the floor? And so I think that's kind of where we have to shift our perspective to is, what can we focus on from a successful season last year, and how do we make it better?
Right-hand side, coach.
Yep.
Joe, Danielo's hurt, out for the year. Rob's going to be out in months, new head coach. Can you guys make back to the finals, and can you win it?
I think all those things you just listed give us an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to create an identity that we're going to need to get to where we want to go. And so anytime you have an injury, you're asking other people to step up, whether that's on staff or whether that's as your roster. And so I think the main message to our players is, one, you're talented. One, we have great players. We have a great team. And what were we great at? And what do we need to work on to get to where we want to go? And regardless of who the coach was, that was going to be the message, because of the ability we have in our roster.
Final question, Coach. Gareth Sullivan.
Hi, Joe. Could you just, as much detail as possible, sort of share what that day was like for you, how you were informed, how you found out, what your feelings were, if it was Brad who came straight to you? Just fill us in a little bit so we can kind of feel what you went through that day.
I mean, I just listened, to what the organization said. And then, because of the timeline, we don't really have that much time. Like I said, the most important thing to me was giving people space and opportunity to communicate how they feel and not rush the process of their healing. And that was what I was focused on. And then the second most important thing is our players. How can we get them better? And then how can I rely on them because of how good they are and, how good our team is.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
I know it's kind of cold in here, we'll try to turn up the heat. No set schedule yet, so bring in, we try to get a sense of who's coming in next, I'll try to alert you. Give you at least a 20-second heads up. Thank you.
The only one I see is
Early.
I'm gonna try to move the back.
that's 3 pounds, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't.
I think Tino. You know what? You lose Tommy. He's the senior.
Use the timing, whether it's 20 seconds or 2 minutes, but he'll be here first. I missed the very beginning, it was about 16 seconds.
Right, wasn't he going through boxes looking for notes for it or something? Or was that Mac? Yeah.
And obviously you know the drill by now, but if you have a question, try to raise your hand and try to get a microphone to you, so you guys get a Malcolm. First question.
Hey, Malcolm.
How you doing?
You know, you've been around the league, you've had the experience, and you come to a championship-ready roster. What was it like for you when you found out you were becoming a Boston Celtic, and what does it feel like now, being so close to the start of the season?
I mean, I was excited. Brad Stevens gave me the option. The Pacers did me really well. They gave me the option of picking between a few teams, and I picked Boston because I want to win. I want to win. It doesn't matter if I'm six man. Whatever role I'm playing, I'm gonna accept and I'm gonna thrive in it and embrace it because I want to add on to what this team has. This team has a great unit, great chemistry. They're on the verge of winning a championship, as we saw, and they need a little bit more. So I want to come and add on to what's already going on here.
You came to this team, with the expectation of playing for Ime Udoka, and now you're playing for Joe Mazulla. How does that change anything with your and just what's that process been like for you to have gotten that news and be here at this point?
For sure. I think it's been difficult for everybody. I think adjustments are being made for the players. I think for the coaching staff. Being a new guy, of course you have expectations, but being a new guy on a team, which I've done before, going from Milwaukee to Indiana, you sort of got to go with the flow and figure it out as you go. And for me, my approach never changes. It doesn't matter, what situation I'm thrown into. I'm a guy that keeps my head down and I continue to work and make sure I'm prepared, make sure my mind is right and my body's right so that I can perform.
Since we're in the PA shirt, I'll ask about this. Situations like the Sarver situation, this Ime Udoka situation, do you feel like the Players Association should have some role in significant things like this that impact the overall feeling or the overall view of the league?
I think the PA is evolving. I think we're taking strides. I think it's difficult right now while we're negotiating a CBA. It's something of great magnitude to step into a situation like this as well. But I think only time will tell if the PA should step into situations like this. I think these situations, as we've seen now, are handled by the organization, and even the league hasn't really stepped in a lot. So I think the PA has sort of stayed out of the way, and time will tell if they start to step in and really stay on these situations.
Malcolm, when you look at the talent in this backcourt with you and Marcus, Derrick, Payton, what kind of identity do you think that you guys can build together?
I think we can be the best defensive backcourt in the league, for sure. Offensively, I think we can be great. So, I think we got guys like Jayson and Tatum, Jaylen and Jayson that make the game easier for us, that take the pressure off of us on both sides of the ball. But those guys' roles are to lead this team on offense and to score the ball and to be the monsters they are. And our job as the backcourt is to make it easier for them to defend when they need to focus on offense and be great defensively and support them offensively.
Malcolm, Joe talked a lot about building trust, healing in this moment with you guys. What's it take to get to that moment? You guys move forward from this, and what's been like just communicating with your teammates through the process where the coach you think you're going to have coaching this year isn't going to be?
Yeah, I think it takes honesty. I think we all have to be honest about where we are and where we want to go. I think there's definitely a time of adjustment, a time of change right now. It happens in the league. This isn't new to any organization that things change, things happen, and everybody has to adjust. But you got to be honest during that process. And because honesty, I think that breeds sort of collectiveness and moving forward together as a unit. Having Joe in here as the head coach now, I think he's going to have to rely on us and lean on us, and we're going to have to do the same with him, and we're going to have to really come together.
Malcolm, you were brought in for primarily what you can do on the court, but now this team is faced with some off-the-court challenge. You think you might actually have to play even a bigger role because of that situation?
That's up to Joe. I'm gonna leave that up to the coaches. I'm gonna be prepared for anything. I've been in the league now for 7 years, and I've played all different types of roles. When I was in Milwaukee, I was a fourth, fifth option playing next to Giannis, arguably the greatest player in the world. When I got to Indiana, I was a 1-2 option. Me and Domas were the top 2 options in Indiana. And now I'm coming here where they have their guys. It's about figuring that out. It's about relying on the coach, me in the best spot, and then it's about accepting that spot.
Over here, thank you. Can you share some impressive, Joe, what meetings you've been able to have, what sort of communication, whether it's personally or from a team standpoint?
He's honestly an incredibly impressive guy. Joe, I think, is only 34 years old, but he's incredibly disciplined. The first thing I pick up on Joe is he's in me lifting. I'm one of the first guys. He's in there lifting every morning. He's a guy that is so detail-oriented. I am like-minded with people that are detail-oriented. They care about the small things, the little things that get them through the day. I do these breathing exercises with the balloon morning before I left, and he came up to me immediately when he saw me doing it, was like, I do breathing exercises, and started explaining the theories behind them and sort of the psychology of thinking about it. So he's a guy that's paying attention to everything. He's a guy that's incredibly locked in and intelligent. And then the players respect him and love him. His ability to put together scouts, I heard against Miami and against a few teams last year in the playoffs, were brilliant. And he's gotten that reputation around the league as well as I've talked to people. So I think he's a guy that's ready for this opportunity and is going to thrive in it.
Final 2 questions. First one from Gary. I think you played for 3 coaches in Indiana, so you know what coaching changes are like. How big of a deal actually is that for players who might not act like they really react much to anything? And then in this situation, how special that would you take guys and kind of explain to them about kind of situations when you have to play for a new guy?
You know, I think it affects everybody, whether or not you're showing it or not. It's impactful for sure. You know, when I was in Indiana, we started, then we went to Nate Bajorgan my second year, then we went to Rick Carlisle my third year, and the style of play was drastic every single time. So it matters for sure. But I think it's the vets, the leaders, the top guys on your team that are the ones that have to sometimes adjust them, but also have to be the ones that guys can lean on and talk to, and have to sort of be even kill about, you know, even kill through chaos. And a guy like that's had 7 or 8 coaches in 7 years, I mean, it's been a lot. At the wave, sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to keep your head down, continue to work, because there's going to be change. It's inevitable in the NBA. It's inevitable in life. And you know, you wake up another day and but I think we got young talent on this team, but you know, guys are also becoming vets. I think Jaylen and Jayson are in that stage where they're becoming vets, and but they're still young. They're young superstars. So to have change like this, it's going to be huge for them. It's definitely going to be big, but they've already gone through a little change from Brad to Ime. So I think they're going to be ready. I think they're going to be prepared, but in those times of doubt, I'll be here. I'll be here to talk. I'll be here for guys to lean on me, and we're going to get through this.
Question?
Malcolm, what are your conversations with Marcus Smart been like? He talked about the playoff run last year, just the identity of this team. So what are those conversations overall been like?
You know, Marcus is one of those guys, whenever I play him, we always say what's up after the game. And then since I've gotten here, he's been great. He's been terrific. You know, I think people build up a feud between us about, you know, they're bringing in a point guard, yada, yada. At the end of the day, me and Marcus are going to be on the floor a lot together, playing together. Me and Marcus have different strengths, work really well together, and we're both really competitive and are going to push each other and help each other. And as far as our conversations, they've been great, talking about the identity of the team, but also just trying to get to know each other before the basketball, because that's, you know, a lot of the time more important, knowing someone before you can get into the details of the game. So I've enjoyed being around him.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Jaylen Brown will be next. Jaylen will be up next.
Somebody took a picture somewhere.
Afternoon, guys.
Question, please raise your hand. We'll pass the mic. Back left.
Hey, Jaylen. I just want to start with, I guess, the question probably we all want to ask. What was your reaction to the allegations against Ime? And then has he had any conversations with you or the rest of the team?
No conversations as far as me on my end. Initial reactions, I think we were all, shocked what was going on, a little confused, a little bit, but a lot of that information wasn't being shared with us or members of the team, so we couldn't comment on it.
Hey, the Bill Russell jersey patches, what does that represent to you? And also, what do you think of the league-wide decision to retire his number?
I think that was an obvious one. I think Bill Russell, what he stood for in his organization, but this league, meant a lot. So to be, commemorated in an appropriate light is just fitting for somebody like him. He was a historical figure. He elevated the game of sports, and now he, used his platform to, bring equality and light to a lot of situations that people were being closed-minded to. And he wasn't celebrated for it. Let's not forget that. We celebrate him now, but during that time, if you check out his book or talk to him, which I've been able to do, people gave him a really hard time. And I think we forget that and that social climate that was going on during that time. So for him to be able to stand above that and be able to speak on his platform and bring a lot of light to situations, we commemorate him. Rest in peace.
Jaylen, Ime was a guy that you guys fought for, advocated for, and built a relationship with over the course of a year, and now that's kind of been ripped away. How difficult is it to process that, deal with that, and how much of a setback is that for you guys, as you try to get to the business of getting back to the finals?
Yeah, like you said, John, it's a lot going on. Some we could control, some we couldn't. So the best we could say is just to move on, I guess. Initial reactions, like you said, I was a little confused. Nobody really has any of the information, so it's kind of difficult to really make a comment on, how things were supposed to go, how the process went or anything. So the best thing we can do is put our best foot forward.
And I'm sorry, as far as Joe goes, and how tough is it to pivot to a new head coach so suddenly? Do you have a sense of things that might go differently? Do you think that this is going to put you guys behind as you try to prepare for the season?
I'm optimistic. I believe in Joe. Joe believes in me. I've had conversations with him. I don't think he sees a limit on my game, or I think he's coming in excited. So I'm optimistic.
Right-hand side, Bobby Manning.
Jaylen, over here. Joe talked a lot about trust and that being kind of his emphasis, becoming coach now, building trust with you guys. When you haven't had a lot of information on, what happened here and, the new coach is stepping in, how do you get to a point where there's that level of trust and a level of healing, read from this?
I'm not sure. I think it's going to be something that we got to address as a group, which we've started that process of doing. Like you said, not a lot of information is being shared, so it's a lot of confusion going around, a lot of speculation going around, which makes it difficult on the guys that's been here and the guys that are here now. But I guess what we do is do our jobs, and that's what we're here for. So we try to put our best foot forward and come out there and do what we got to do.
John?
Jaylen, to piggyback on that a little bit, it's understandable why the team wouldn't be providing a lot of the details here,
Right.
Protecting people's privacy, but without the benefit of details, is it difficult to fully comprehend and support the team's decision?
Ask that question one more time.
Is it difficult without the benefit of details? As you said, there's a lot of confusion. Is it difficult for you as a player to understand and support the team's decision?
I guess in a sense, yeah, like you said, there's not a lot of information that's being shared with me personally or, anybody else that may. So like you can't really make a comment on it without having all the information, right? So I think that does make it difficult if you answer your question, yeah.
Duke on the right-hand side over here.
Jaylen, part of the game, obviously, trade rumors. Your name was involved in trade rumors too. We saw social media posts where you seemed to, shaking my head. Have you talked to ownership about those rumors, and have you talked to Brad about those rumors, and what your status is with this team?
Yes and no. I've talked to my teammates. I talked to ownership, organization, etc. I keep those conversations between us. All I can say is now that I'm here, I'm ready to play basketball. I'm in great shape, probably the best shape of my life. So I'm excited to start the journey. Things haven't gone, to the start that we've wanted it to go. But that's life sometimes. So put our best foot forward and do what we got to do.
Just to follow up on that, what was it like for you at that point in time? Because we did see the social media posts. So what was it like for you at that time when you heard your name?
I don't know how to answer that. I think it's been the same since I've been here. It wasn't surprising or it wasn't not surprising. It didn't make me feel some type of way or whatever. It is what it is. So I talked to my teammates, organization about it, and now I'm just ready to play basketball.
Ken's got a couple more stations to go to. A couple more questions. That's it, please. Thank you.
Hey, Jen, back here on your left. I know, obviously, there's still a lot to figure out, a lot to cipher through about the Ime Udoka situation. Given that officially it is a season-long suspension, do you think that at the end of that he could come back and coach this team?
Like I said, I don't know. It's a lot of speculation. It's a lot of questions that everybody has, really, that we don't know, that they probably can't share for privacy reasons. So it'd be unfair for me to comment on that.
Right-hand side, Tim.
Jaylen, over here. How do you, you've mentioned a few times how you guys have to kind of move forward and do your job and kind of focus on that. As one of the leaders of this group, how do you kind of keep the group going forward in that direction when, as you said, there is a lack of information, you're not sure what's going on? You got a new coach 3 days ago. Like, what are the things you do to kind of make sure things are going in the direction you want them to?
A mixture of things, I guess, but it definitely puts your leadership to the test. Not just mine, but all of ours. So we'll see. Obviously, things haven't gone the way we expected, but like I said, that's life. So the best thing you could do is move on.
Got a question, Gary?
Jaylen, Ime came in, still disciplined, you guys the things to do to get better. Now he slips or whatever he did. How do you temper your disappointment in that and in him, your disappointment in, figures who are trying to tell you how to be better, with moving forward, with taking his message and listening to the message and not the messenger? How do you kind of digest all that and try to make the best of the situation?
I mean, I'll say it again. We had more details from what we know. It's hard to make a decision based upon whether it's consensual or not in the workplace or whatever's going on, which we've known that's happened before in the workplace, but I guess there's more to it than possibly, which we don't know. I don't know. I don't have all the details. It's not being shared with me. So it's hard to really, comment on something that you are not, you're not filled in with all the details. So I don't really have a feeling or a comment on my emotions about it because I don't have the details.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Appreciate your understanding of the amount of questions we try to ask, and the various stages of 5 percent in December starts to recall. Kind of rushing, if you have a question, I apologize.
Tatum, that's smart. How many more did you need?
Tatum, Brown, Smart.
Like
Horford.
Who?
Al.
Oh, yeah, he's still here.
Yeah? If I got those four, I'd be good, but
We got him at 15.
I need 2 more of the stars.
Yeah.
Not the next
15, it's like a documentary these days.
Oh, yeah, that's like the
No.
max. That's max.
Oh, yeah. That's max for me, for you.
Not tell him to do that.
He didn't.
Start with Adam first on the left-hand side, Rob.
Hey, Rob, can you kind of give a sense on the timeline leading up to the second surgery? What happened, what led to it? And obviously, I'm assuming you were feeling pretty good throughout the summer to not have done it earlier, and now kind of how you're feeling now.
Yeah, man, just just some recurring problems. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it took a toll on me mentally. You know, I want to be there, but man, all I can focus on is rehab now, man, and just getting court. You know, that's what I'm ready for.
Did you just kind of pain start flaring up when you started ramping up training again, or what kind of led to it more recently?
Like I said, I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, just put that timeline on it, but recurring injury, man.
Hey, Rob, right in front of you. As you deal with this knee recovery again, this close to the season, where are you at? How do you feel physically and mentally?
Mentally is one of my better days. Just realizing the trust, that I have in this team, with my process, the processes I've been through with them a couple of times, feeling good today, just sitting all the guys together and stuff, getting back. But, it's a battle, it is tough, but I'm here for it. Like I said, I'm ready to get back.
Rob, just going back to Adam's question a little bit, for the timing of this, was this something that you thought about earlier in the summer when you were having, the recurring problems with the knee, or was it something that you were hoping that rest would kind of take care of and you had to work through that? How did that kind of go?
We all know I was battling through injuries at the end of last season. That's just what it is. And I made a decision as a man to keep playing, and that's my decision. Regardless of the recurring injuries, whenever they did happen, I bought into that decision, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's the biggest thing. It's just me being good mentally. Like I said, get myself ready, get myself back, and just put my 100% in rehabbing, man. That's all I'm focused on. That's all I can talk about.
Right-hand side over here, Rob. Just elaborate a little bit. Both you and Brad, and I think Ime at the end of last season said rest would hopefully take care of the reoccurring problems with the knee during did something happen this summer that, as far as, like, caused that to change? Or did it just not feel better? Like, what got from there to having to undergo surgery last week?
I feel like just the lack of having a time. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was playing on it last year. It had instances where I had to give it time during the summer to the rest of it, but I just felt like it never got back to what that's just bottom line. So just want to like I said, be 100% in rehab, do things right with.
And on a very different note, what was kind of your emotions? What have your emotions been over the past 3 or 4 days? Found out about what Ime not being the coach, now Joe Mazulla being the coach. Sort of what has kind of your thought process been, on top of the fact that we were dealing with getting surgery done in the middle of all that too?
Yeah, man, we here. We got a job, man. We here to do our job. It's an unfortunate situation, everything that's going on, but I can't speak on that too much. I'm here to speak on basketball, man.
Rob, on basketball, Gordon was EU last year in your development, and will this be a big switch on the court to now have to perhaps switch to somewhat of a different system with Joe?
Ime and all the other coaches were great attributes to myself and to other people. And, us as a staff, as players, organization, I feel like we trust Joe, you know what I'm saying? Oh, my bad, coach, you know what I'm saying? We trust Coach. I got a personal relationship with him, for a while. We all in, man. We locked in, Like I said, we got a job to do. We trying to hoop. Just got to have it on our mind today.
You guys, it took a while to figure out a leadership dynamic with the team that worked, but eventually you got there. Joe was just thinking about how that leadership dynamic was about the players rather than just the coach. So what do you have to do from your position, and what do your teammates have to do to keep that going?
All of us just got to keep leading by example. I feel like that's the biggest thing. It's not what a person says, it's what a person does, at the end of the day. So we see each other, putting off energy, exerting 100% every time. It's easy to follow that. And, man, like I said, just keep it basketball, man. Come to work it.
Questions? First, John on the left side. Hey, Rob. You mentioned that it was your decision to come back last year in the playoffs, and obviously you were playing, battling something, and you had to rest and keep it together. Are you still are you still solid in that decision, or decision to have come back? Are you worried at all that it might have set you back?
Nah, I'm sure. I played in the finals, man. You know what I'm saying? You win some, you lose some, but I don't regret my decision at all. I was 24 years old. My dreams were playing the finals, dog. Can't regret that shit.
Are you worried at all? It's one of the reasons why you had a kind of slower recovery period over the offseason. It's resulted in the surgery now?
If that is the case, I feel like that to my first answer. Like I said, I made that decision, man. So it is what it is.
Side Bobby and John, wrap it up.
Hey, Rob. Joe, one of the most important things right now is building trust with you guys. Without having all the details, like Jaylen said, how difficult is it to be to trust, what happened here and moving forward past it?
It's coming to work, man. A lot of people ain't got a lot of things figured out in life, but just got to keep our best foot forward and just keep showing up and being there for each other.
Final question, John?
Rob, you talk about recurring problems in the left knee. How confident are you that this surgery is the last one that you're going to have that recurring problems?
I mean, nobody know if they're going to get hurt again. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm pretty confident, man. I made a decision to come in a timely fashion last year. But we're gonna get right this time, man.
Thank you, Bob.
Twist.
He took over in Texas.
Jeff first?
No, I was just wondering what he like out.
Your phone need one? What? Your phone need one? Well, I had no question. I was surprised.
Start in the front row with Gary first. Microphone comes around. Gary?
Yeah, Jayson, your reaction in the last 48, 72 hours, have you spoken with your former coach? How do you move forward? What's going through your head?
I guess I feel like everybody else, it's a lot to process. Unexpected, especially right coming into this season, and you feel a certain way that coming off last year that you're excited and trying to do all these things, and just a lot, if I'm being honest. And I guess along with everybody else, you're still trying to process it all, knowing that, we start practice tomorrow.
Have you had any conversations with him since this happened?
Since this has gone down, what role have you taken in just trying to keep the team on page? And now that you have a new coach, how much of a responsibility do you have to revive that leadership dynamic you guys had last year?
And honestly, I think what I'm looking forward to most is just playing basketball, right? It's been a lot of talking and things like that. And tomorrow we just get to play basketball, we get to practice. So, I'm looking forward for that to start.
Taylor Snow, left side.
Jayson, how did your wrist heal up after that fracture, and just how are you feeling in general after getting a little bit of a break this summer?
Feel good, feel healthy. Body feels great. Got some rest. Feel good coming into the training camp of the season. Looking forward to getting ready to go.
Jayson, what's the team's comfort level with Joe, and how important is it for the veteran guys to kind of buy in and support him, to have that be something that works out of the gate?
Yeah, somebody we're comfortable with. He's been here the last 3 or 4 years. So same person, just in a different position now. So somebody that we're familiar with and have a lot of respect for.
One of the things Joe talked about most important right now is healing and building trust. Similar to that last question, there's really no blueprint for this, but how do you try to move forward and all trust, that everything that happened here was handled the right way?
Like I said, just kind of get back to what, we know what to do best, and that's play basketball. And I guess not as simple as that, but it's just kind of our mindset of, obviously it's a lot going on, but the things that we can control is, playing basketball and getting ready for practice tomorrow.
Jayson over here. When you look back at the run to the finals and the whole experience for you and your teammates, what do you feel like you learned? Do you feel like you learned enough to put this team over the hump?
It was a learning experience. You understand how tough it was to get to that point and how much tougher it is to obviously win the whole thing. So take some time to reflect, rest, attack the summer with a plan of, things that you feel like you need to do to be the best version of yourself coming into the next season and, ultimately try to get over that hump, this year.
Jayson, I'm sorry if it's a little repetitive, but are you feeling comfortable with how things unfolded, the way players were kept in the loop, if at all, and just sort of the communication, like, are you comfortable, or are you still sort of, are there things you would have wished were done differently from an organizational standpoint?
I mean, if you read the statement and, you know, if you watch the press conference, obviously apparently it's a lot of things that, you know, they can't speak about. So, you know, I think I'm kind of like in the same boat as, you know, I don't know. So it's hard for me to answer if things were handled the right way, if they weren't, because, you know, I guess for a lot of reasons, I don't know all the details because I didn't.
Jason, over here. If you haven't had any conversations with Udoka, can you tell us how you found out about what eventually transpired, and I guess what the hardest thing you think will be to move forward from what a lot of players are doing is really an unwanted distraction at this point?
How did I find out?
Yeah.
Shit, on Twitter, like everybody else. And then, yeah, it is. It's just an unfortunate situation. You know, all things considered, you know, nobody expected this, you know, coming into the season. And, you know, we were all kind of caught off guard by everything. But, you know, we got to try to move forward and, you know, play basketball.
Just so I have it clear, you found out on Twitter, and then there like a team meeting after, or how did it go down?
I mean, we met the next day as a team, you know, but obviously it was kind of like with the statement that came out. There wasn't any more information that we found out besides, you know, the things that you guys heard.
A couple questions, Duke, on the right-hand side over here.
Jason, you guys were 2 wins away from winning it all last year. With Joe as your head coach, can you guys get back there and win it all this year?
Can we? Do I believe that? Absolutely. Absolutely, I believe that, and I think everybody else does in that locker room as well.
Jason, you talked about the playoff run and the finals as a learning experience, obviously taking that final step. Beyond how hard it is to make that final step, what are the biggest things you took away from that whole run, for you personally?
The biggest things, you know, that it's hard. It's hard getting there. You know, we had 2 7-game series that easily could have went the other way, and we probably, you know, we could not have been in the championship. So never want to take anything for granted. And I think coming into this season, realizing that, you know, it's not as easy as just saying we're going to get back there and we got to play better. You know, we got to start from day one tomorrow like everybody else, and it's a process, and we can't skip any steps.
Final question, Jason. Detroit Tigers starting pitcher.
Hey, Jason, you've been pretty outspoken this offseason about just after the finals loss, you took it pretty hard, I guess. How's your headspace going into this year, just with obvious unwanted distractions, but kind of mentally resetting going into this season?
Yeah, it's like a fresh start. What happened last year. Can't change it. You know, just got to get ready for this year. And, you know, start from scratch. You know, essentially everybody is 0-0. And when, you know, everybody has the same goal. And, you know, try and win a championship.
Thank you, Jason.
What's up, everybody? More of y'all this year, huh?
How tough was this for you guys as players? You had a strong relationship with Ime. What's your reaction as a player to that relationship like this year?
Yeah, I can only really speak on the relationship in a sense because of how
of a man he was to me and how genuine he was. Outside of that, I don't really have much to say because I don't know all the facts on all the details that are going on behind the scenes. So in terms of character and relationship, he was a great coach. He was a man that challenged you and held you to the highest standard, and I think he'll continue to do that.
So how did you take when you found this out that as a coach, he obviously teaches you about leadership and being a man, that he had his misstep and his mistake himself?
Yeah, people make mistakes. That's kind of the principle of life. No one's perfect, but we have a ship that is prepared to step up when things go down. You know, Joe's very, very important and special. He's a man that I spent time with this summer that I can just speak on how intense and how charismatic he is and how passionate he is. And that was as an assistant. So I'm even more excited what he's able to do as a head coach. I think he's prepared. I think he has a great relationship with guys. And I can speak that he's the most capable person in our organization to take on that role, to fill that void, you could say.
Brad, you a certain way, Ime challenged you to be a certain way, which was very different. Considering the way this roster is made up, you could be used in any number of ways. You're going to be asked to do a lot. How does this change to Joe affect what you perceive your role to be? Have you had a discussion with him and what you're going to be asked to do?
Yeah, whatever he needs me to do, it will get done. That's how I approach every single season. That's how I approach any relationship. And no matter what I'm asked to do, I'll be prepared. Preparation won't be the issue. Same way with Joe. His preparation is more detailed than anyone I've been around. So I'm excited for not only this upcoming year, but the opportunity, you just got to take advantage and be special in that role. Whatever he asks, and be the best person at it. So that's all I'm focused on. Whatever that may be, whatever that entails, we'll see. But whatever is necessary, I'm prepared to do.
Last year, when the team was kind of floundering, you had to take on a bigger leadership role to kind of steady everything behind the scenes. What do you feel like you have to do in this situation to help the team kind of rally again?
Yeah, it's just a matter of inspiration and keeping guys locked in to the goal at hand, because no matter what people say, no matter what people do around us, our whole focus and goal is to win a championship. And that's got to be our discipline every single day. And from my perspective, just being vocal as a leader, being present, and being a person that is available, because no matter if that's talking about what's going on, no matter if someone's going through something or if things are going great, keeping guys inspired to not look forward and not look in the past, focus on the present, focus on every single day.
Grant, you talked about being challenged a couple of times. I assume you're the type of guy that likes being challenged and you respond to it, right?
Absolutely.
So with Joe, does he have to earn your respect? Does he already have your respect because of the position? I'm just curious about, obviously you got to respect someone to respond to their challenges. If you don't respect them, it doesn't work, right?
Yeah, I don't think that anyone in this organization doesn't respect Joe. He's had that presence since he's been a coach here. From the 4 years he's been here, the 3 I've been with him, or 4 that I've been, technically 4, I guess you can say. He's approached every day with a certain discipline. He's challenged guys. He's established relationship with guys. And that's vital and important, not only as an assistant, but as a head coach. And he's prepared himself. He's studied. He's had experience in the past. And he's been through his own challenges. And to think that he's still the man that he is to this day is so special to see, because I'm excited for him to step up into this role. I know he's going to be prepared. I know he's ready for this opportunity. And I know that everyone on the team here, especially within the organization too, are focused on that goal and understanding that Joe's the right person to lead us to that goal.
Obviously a much different topic, but you're up for a potential contract extension in a few weeks. You've got an agent, but from your standpoint, are you optimistic that something might be able to get done? And how much do you want to get something done and lock yourself in here for a while?
Yeah, I love being in Boston. I love what we have in store. I love what we've set up as a team and as people, as kids. I love the guys here. I love the city. But when it comes to that, I just let my agents and everybody handle it, because if you become too overwhelmed or concerned with it, that's when you start focusing on your play or you start doing things that aren't necessarily characteristics of yourself. And for me, my number one focus and goal is allowing and helping this team to win a championship. Everything else takes care of itself. whether that's I get extended, whether that's I play the season, whatever that entails, I just have to be prepared for it. Sway my mental whatsoever.
Hey, Grant, impressed during the playoffs, you took the time to come out for the groundbreaking for the Embrace. You obviously think about civil rights and what's happening. You've got a number 6 on your chest right now. And what does that mean to you to honor Mr. Russell this season?
It's an honor for me, especially because not only what he was able to do on the court and how special he was there, but all the impact that he made off. In my family, my father loved the Celtics because of him. Because of him, Casey Jones, Sam Jones. He played Sam Jones in high school, I believe. So it's one of those things that there's a certain history behind it. And the presence that Bill Russell had not only on the court, but in the community and the activists and being a leader, not only just dealing with what he had to deal with people that didn't look like us on the court, but off the court as well. It's something that will always be present, and he'll always have a legacy because of that, because he's a special human being. And I'm fortunate and thankful to be playing for this organization. I'm thankful to be honoring him and his legacy. And it's only our biggest focus is doing what he would have done, and that's winning, because he was a winner in not only on the court, but a winner in life.
Final couple questions, Taylor Snow.
Hey, Grant, last year you obviously showed a lot of improvement, especially a three-point shot. What were some of the things that you focused on this summer to kind of take your game to another level?
Absolutely. The main focus for me this summer individually was variety of shots, in the sense of being willing to shoot in scenarios that you're not comfortable. The ones that of course I can make the spot ups, of course you can make the ones that are open, but being more comfortable taking the shots that aren't, be on the move, stuff like that. And then as well as being a better rebounder and challenging myself to be a better screener as well, because I think some of our biggest issues last year came from not creating separation, not creating that extra opportunity, and being a role or being a great presence. And that's probably the focuses I've had. So not only the involvement goes up, the usage, but also the ability to be versatile in different scenes.
Final question.
Grant, right in the middle. How did you find out about the Ime news?
At the time, I found out on same as everyone else. But I understand that, because as an organization, you have to protect yourselves, and same thing with live. You don't ever want to leak or anything like that. So, you take it as it is, and then you try and understand the facts. But when those facts become available, you'll know more. But right now, I don't know the facts, so you just gotta go with what you see and keep it moving.
How were those first conversations like with you guys as a team, the players specifically?
Yeah, something that you always have. You have to talk about it, whether it's uncomfortable or not, or comfortable conversation. So, I think guys, we haven't had much time to discuss it. We've been in the facility, but we haven't been around, so they can't really see the difference. But honestly, it's just a matter of everyone's going to digest things differently, and being receptive and understanding of that, and being willing to listen is how we improve not only as individuals ourselves.
Thank you very much, Grant.
Thank you.
Questions for Luke? Sorry, Bobby Mandy.
Hey Luke, what's sort of your expectation for your role this year, and how do you feel you're better prepared for it than when you first got to Boston a year and a half ago, whatever it was?
I definitely realize there's definitely a great chance of being a more involved member in terms of being on the court. And I'm honestly I think it's kind of the same thing I've always done. It's just like being ready for whatever role I'm kind of given. And like through my experience in my career, even game to game, it could go from 0 minutes to 25 to 10 to 30 to 0. So it's like to be ready for all that. And I think a lot of that just comes with, I've had a lot of time of being able to be around these guys now compared to when I first came here, where I feel like I have a lot more understanding of guys' games and how I can kind of play mine to be able to help them. So I would just say that's probably the biggest thing that's changed, just in terms of, I've definitely just grown as a player in ways, and I think especially like last year in Maine, in terms of being able to like really pass and help facilitate offense, definitely grew a lot. But I take basketball, whether I'm playing like pickup or in a playoff game, like it's all kind of the same thing of just trying to get better and trying to win, and kind of letting and kind of filter through that. So I just think I'm better prepared for that, just in terms of being able to be around the guys so much more. And also I'd say being in the playoffs that we've had has definitely been a great like learning experience of seeing kind of what it takes to play on that level as well.
Setting aside that you're always going to be ready to play, is there any kind of mental shift when you hear news like what happened with Rob last week, and you know that a guy that is expected to play a bunch of minutes is not going to be available for a good chunk of time? Obviously that opens up, like you said, a clear pathway to playing. Is there any sort of shift in terms of how you're thinking about even what your day-to-day role will be or anything like that, or is it literally just the same as if nothing had happened?
There definitely is a shift, because what you have to do to like kind of stay prepared, I'd say it like definitely just varies, and kind of like knowing a little better of like just for instance, like if you're definitely preparing for the season in the same way that you always would, and like to be ready to play and to be ready to perform. But like it's almost like kind of one of those things. It's like, all right, all of a sudden if your role's shifting over, you might have to start taking into consideration like how much you're doing off the court, and like lifting and the kind of your training and like all that kind of stuff, I think has to fit in more. And also perhaps I would say a lot more in terms of like the film will be a whole lot more like applicable to you, because you'll actually, you know, the situations you're going to be in. So there's definitely just more information that you get that allows you to kind of like better formulate your plan on how you can best help the team. And so there definitely is a bit of a switch in that, but in terms of still being a basketball player and conditioning and like how am I going to help this team be the best it can, a lot of those things stay the same, but there's some change.
The team has placed a lot of confidence in you to be in this role, to position to get a lot of minutes, even with some bigger, more recognizable names out there. Does that give you any more confidence in yourself? Say, okay, they believe in me to do this, and it pushes you a little bit more. And at the same time, does that put a little pressure on you, because you know there are recognizable names out there that people have been pushing, hey, this guy should be signed?
Frankly, like early in my career, I think that would have probably, like, I don't know, I would have thought about that a whole lot more. But like, to be completely honest, it's like when it comes to stuff that's like outside of your control or outside of your care, it's like, and even in terms of, it is great to have like the confidence of actions kind of be like put into you, but at the same time, I think it's kind of always, at least for myself, is like it comes like eternally, and for me, it comes in a lot of like different sorts. That doesn't really matter. But like, it's like as even like how much confidence you let someone have over you, like that also allows it to be like taken away. And so I think a lot of my earlier experiences playing basketball, where it's like, oh, you're playing 30 minutes a game and like, things are great said about you, and then you're not, and things poorly are said about you. Like, it frankly doesn't change a whole lot in terms of like, obviously you want to have the confidence of people, and it's like definitely great to have that. But you have to be confident of yourself and who you are as a player. And like, if you don't have that, then like you'll just be kind of riding the emotional waves of stuff that's going on around you. So I'd say it definitely can be like reassuring, but should never be like the primary crux of your confidence. And so I would say like in that case, and that's sort of like the situation that is like, it's good to know, but at the same time, like my confidence as a basketball player shouldn't be wavered, whether I'm like, whether that, however decisions get made like that.
When you came into this team, how did you see the way that the leadership dynamic had evolved to really turn their season around? And so how do you feel like the players are set up to figure out how to weather the storm regardless of who the coach is has changed?
So like, I like that is like I think a gift of this team is that, and it's kind of weirdly evident in the way we play, like especially if how good we've been defensively, right? It's like the thing that a huge part of what makes us like great defensively, where we were able to make it to the finals last year, is that there's like no one guy you could absolutely point to as like the reason we are like elite defensively, but everyone like kind of doing their role and being contributing. And we have Marcus, we have Val, we have Jason, we have Jaylen. It's like there's like you can kind of look to every single person for kind of like confidence and reassurance, and it's like I think that's definitely a gift of the team, and it was pretty evident last year. Is like as great as it is to have like absolute star players with just absolutely transcendent talent, it's even better to have like every person that you can to be able to rely on. Kind of like the responsibility for all these things is sort of like decentralized to some extent, because and that was even evident of like we had games last year in the playoffs where guys were out and you just kept on playing, and like you missed them, but also you made up for like, and yeah, it's just like a gift of the team. We have like there's so many places that you can look to for like confidence and assurance and stability, and there's not really any like one person kind of like above it all when it comes to that, because because of that dynamic.
Thank you, Luke.
Yeah.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank
you.
Go to the guard. No, you want us to do this? Yeah. Yeah, can I edit while you drive? Well, hopefully it'll come out soon.
Send it to those folks.
I did.
The picture of you and me.
Oh, I will.
You lost it already. Send it to Boom.
He's working tonight, right? Yeah, we do have that. Come back, we'll go for it.
Yes. Back left, Marks, and Brian Rowe. Thank you.
Hey, Marcus, you just described what the last 72 hours has been like for you and your teammates just when find out Ime's violations.
It's been hell. Just caught off surprise. Nobody really knows anything. So
we're just in the wind just like everybody else. So these last couple of days, as far as this has been confusing.
And reactions to Joe being named interim head coach and how you think your relationship with him during his time?
Really good relationship with Joe. I think pretty much everybody on the team does. You know, Joe in here through the hard times, through the good times. He knows and understands us as players. He's built relationships with us, so we love Joe. You know, we're excited to be able to work with him, and you know, in this opportunity that he has. So we're all new. He's new to this. We're new to him being in that position. So we're all going to learn together and go together.
Marcus, right in front of you. Obviously, over the last 72 hours, we've all found out about Ime, but leading up to that, Wick shared how there was an investigation. Were you still communicating with Ime at all, as if it was a normal offseason and you were gearing up to work for your head coach then?
Yeah, definitely. You know, he came to see me in L.A., see a couple players in L.A. So, like I said, we got caught off guard just like everybody else.
Did you notice anything at all? Did it seem like anything was up, or?
Not to me, you know, so I think that's why it's so off guard for us, because everything just seemed so normal.
And how do you feel now? You mentioned how much you love Joe and everyone, all the players do, and Damon is still on the staff too. I know how important both of those guys are to the success. How do you feel about the now leadership on the coaching staff as you guys go for another championship run?
I feel great about it. It's just another guy, like I said, who understands us as players, individuals, who's been here through us, through our bad times and good times. So we're excited. You know, we're proud that it is Joe. So familiar with us, and trying to get re-familiarized with him. So we love Joe, and like I said, you know, we were excited to get out there back on the court with him.
Marcus, this is our first time seeing the jersey with the Bill Russell patch. Just what does that patch represent to you, and also what do you think of the idea to retire his number league-wide?
I love it. I love that idea. You know, we heard things like pioneer, trailblazers, to mention, you know, the impact that he brings to this game, that he brought. And I think for us as fans and competitors, we just wish we could still get that sample size to witness. So I definitely love the idea of what the league's doing and retiring it all the way. I think it shows how much, you know, he actually has made on us on and off the court, and especially for, you know, me being a man of color, you know, to pave the way that he did, you know, and allow us in my generation to keep going and do the same for others.
So the CMA suspension just happened a few days ago. How difficult has it been just trying to jump right into doing media day and getting right into training camp? And have you had any apprehension about doing all this so quickly?
I think the whole thing is it did happen so quick, you know, and it happened, you know, in enough time we didn't have to really understand anything before media. So we just kind of, just like you guys have been thrown here, this is what's going on, and then we have to still go out and do our jobs. So it's been tough because, you know, this situation takes away, unfortunately, from the players who are here, who's been putting in the work, who's put in the work, and you know, who's going out there to do their job. So it's definitely been unfortunate for all parties involved. So, but like I said, we just found out just like you did. So we're trying to do our best to cope with whatever we know, just like you guys are.
Marcus, you're not the first guy to come in here and say, we don't really know anything. We know almost as much as you do. Do you feel like as a player, you're entitled to know more? You had your coach pulled away just days ago. Do you feel like the organization owes it to you, the players, to tell you more?
I mean, yes, we don't know what the organization knows. So it's kind of hard to say that. You know, we don't know what they know. So we don't know what they are supposed to tell us or what we're supposed to know. So this is, and I think this is where, you know, this is at and why it is what it is, because literally no one knows anything. We're still waiting just like everybody else. So, you know, as a player, you would like to be known, but at the same time, that's none of our business. You know, it's their lives. It's the people who's involved. It's between them, you know, and we should respect that privacy. And we understand, you know, just like we want our privacy respected, So although as a player, yeah, you would like to know, but like I said, it's not an obligation.
Final few questions, Marcus. First, Tim over here on the right.
Sorry. To that end, Marcus, are you comfortable with how the team has handled this with respect to you guys, given obviously there's privacy concerns all the way around?
Yeah, I'm definitely, like I said, they handled it the best way they could with how they can do it, and from what they know. And you just got to go from there.
And obviously, a lot of the coaches came in last year with Ime. Joe's one of the few guys that's been around for a few years. As far as, everything that's going on, obviously it's a chaotic situation. How much does it help that you have a guy that you've been with now for 3 or 4 years, that you have had a chance to have a real relationship going into a situation?
Helps tremendously, like I said, it'd been different if we had somebody new that, we're trying to build that connection with them. Whereas, Joe's been here. He knows the schemes, he knows the system, he knows the players. Excuse me. So it makes it a little bit more easier to adjust to a guy that's been here and knows you.
Marcus, early on last season, you got like a penalty for being late to a practice. You and Ime built a relationship. You tried to instill discipline, tried to tell you to do the right things. And now when someone like that who's kind of considered a role model lets you down, how do you temper the disappointment, the optimism for the season, bringing in a new coach, your emotions and feelings about losing someone that you had faith in and moving forward? How do you kind of encapsulate that now?
I mean, nobody died, so they didn't lose anything. I still love Ime person as a coach. It's just something unfortunate that happened to him. It doesn't take away from what he did as a coach. It doesn't take away, how he turned his team around, how he led this team to a finals appearance in a long time. It's just unfortunate that this is where we're at, and love him, but this is where we're at, and that's all you can go from there.
Marcus, what was the team meeting like when you guys got the news? Who was there, and what was the initial reaction by the players?
The initial reaction was literally like just a state of shock. We couldn't believe what we were hearing, and especially at the time that we were hearing it. 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, whatever you're hearing it, however long, right before media day. You know what I'm saying? And it's hitting us from all angles, and we're just trying, like I said, to figure it out, just like everybody else. Everybody was attendance to the meeting. We wanted to know, and they told us what they knew, and to go from there. Literally, that's it. So it's frustrating from all ends of not knowing, not understanding, because you don't know. So you just try to focus on the things that you can control and the things you know.
Marcus, did you guys ask questions?
No, we didn't know what questions to ask. It's kind of hard to ask questions when you don't even know what's going on. So for us, we were just there in attendance to listen and see what was going on.
Marcus, given the two things you said, both that you totally understand why you don't know details because you're respecting people's privacy, but also you would like to know so you can understand and be able to reconcile the punishment and why your head coach is gone for the year and possibly longer. How difficult is it for you to be able to kind of reconcile what has happened, the penalty to Ime, and to be able to move on and have trust in the organization's decision?
We're human, until you figure out, for us, when things are uncertain, that's when you start to feel all kinds of feelings because you don't know. So it's kind of hard to really just say anything because you don't know. So you want to make sure you get all the facts before you know. But like I said, from what we do know, the organization has handled it the right way. Although we didn't know as much of what we do now. Which we're okay with that, but we would still like to know, like you said, just for the simple fact, because it did happen so fast, and everything that we started to build is starting over in a sense now. So, but at the same time, we're here to play basketball, and people like their privacy, just like you would as a human, normal person. So we have to respect that, and that's all we can do. Thank you, guys.
This is a little
It's okay. What's that? Yeah, okay. That's okay. No, you're okay. What's up, man? What's up, bro? I knew the voice. What's going on?
Get out here and we're good, Yeah, no, I know we have enough. If they're saying that
they just want,
if we get out of here by 2, we're pretty good. That's 12 hours.
2 hours.
Huh?
I'm just trying to think about 2 hours.
Not many, I mean, it's like, who is the?
Pritchard.
Payton Pritchard.
They're not right now. I know, my friends who handle it. And then,
Who's the guy that they traded for the guard? Oh man, I can see
Who's
it.
left? Derrick White. You thinking of Derrick White? Derrick White and Al are the two larger names left. He's doing, yeah, I just saw he's doing an NBC one-on-one right now, so he's out there.
have you seen Al, anything about Al?
I assume he's one of the next, but Al, Pritchard, and White would be the 3 remaining
That's it, yeah.
players I can think of right now.
Will they bring more than that Al?
They might bring them all because they have some down roster guys. So you get, there's like it's 15 guys, so you're hoping.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Oh, if they get to 2 o'clock, I'll text them and we can get the dub.
Yeah, they could just put it up on Latico for us later.
Who's doing it this
I'm not sure which one. They're here. They're here.
Zero.
Yep. I was told that I was the second one feeding it back live.
No.
Okay. Just at half, so I can just.
You're gonna finish it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Adam. How long was that?
10 minutes.
10? Okay.
I can help on for sure.
I think that we're still missing stuff.
Yeah, we'll just do it. I'll pick up 5 minutes.
I mean, we're like.
No, we don't need that.
Yeah, like.
But like, I think there was like never.
I didn't record during it.
I'll just pick up halfway through. Just start now.
Yeah, just do it.
What's that?
Just do whatever you want.
I don't think anyone needs this prompt. Not even period.
2,000 words.
Yeah, we don't have any.
I've heard yes.
Want to slap the ground?
I didn't record it. To be honest, that's. He's not very.
Because they're in there now.
I'd rather just get a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I just tweeted out 2 different quotes from me. You know what dawns on me? One of them was, it's been hell for us. We don't know how fast.
We want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one was, nobody died.
Yeah.
But it didn't dawn on me until I looked at the 2. Back to back.
Thank you, Derek. Questions for Derek?
Derek, you've known Ime for a long time. How did this news hit you, and just what kind of thoughts and emotions have you been processing since you learned you won't be back as coach?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been a pretty crazy week or so, however long it's been. Just finding out and just going through those emotions, processing. Each person has different process in it, but I mean, it's been pretty crazy, and I'm just trying to focus on the season, prepare myself to do what I need to do for the season coming up.
Derrick, coming in midway through a season like you did last year can be overwhelming. Just how do you think having a full off season and training camp will help you settle in even more?
Yeah, I mean, I think since I got traded here to the finals, it was a wild 4 months. Obviously, great experiences, great times, and for the next season, I'm just looking forward to it. I'm much more comfortable. I know where I'm supposed to be at. On the court, off the court, everything's just much more comfortable at this time, and I was really looking forward to training camp, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Along the same lines, you're preparing for a role with Ime as the head coach, and Malcolm's coming in, and it does throw a little bit of that backcourt rotation to it's something you guys have to figure out. Now with Joe there, is there have you had some communication? What exactly your role is going to be as far as when you're going to be coming into the level, what's going to be expected of you? Has that changed?
No, I ain't heard anything, but I mean, I think once we get through training camp, the preseason, like you finally figure out more of the rotations and stuff like that as it goes on. But I mean, I was excited when we brought Malcolm into it. I mean, I don't think you can ever have enough good players, and he's proven he's a really good player for a long time in this league. So, I mean, the rotations, everything, I think we'll figure out the year, and I mean, wherever I'm throwing in there, I'm gonna just go out there and compete and do what I do.
Right-hand side over here, my TV light goes.
Derrick, you preparing for this upcoming season, did it change the way you approach the off season, and if so, in what ways? And just overall, what are some of the things you're sort of working on and looking forward to improving on as a?
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. Just spending time with him, watching him grow. He turned 4 months last week, so he's doing a little more smiling, a little more active, and playing with toys and stuff like that. So it's been cool just to see his growth and his development. I mean, it's been amazing, and it's made my summer a lot of fun. And then obviously on the basketball side, just trying to be more consistent. My shot consistent with my form, stuff like that, and just try to get a little stronger, a little more explosive too on the weight room of it.
Something that's new, or is usually?
A lot of similar things. I think I changed some things up. I had a personal strength coach this summer, which I hadn't really had in the past, and some stuff like that.
You got here last right when the team was sorting itself out. How did you see that leadership with the players evolve? How much did it rely upon the coach that it could kind of form now under leadership?
Yeah, I think it was cool to see like how much the players were involved in everything. I mean, obviously Al, our leader, and the heart and soul of our team. So just from him to JT to Smart, JB, and everybody. So just having those guys come back for another year and just have that foundation that I was able to get last year will be big coming up to this next year. And I mean, Joe was a big part of the coaching staff last year, especially for me personally. He was always talking to me about defense assignments and defensive philosophies and stuff like that. So I think it's just going to carry over.
Thank you, Derrick.
Coming up next, Deuce.
For our broadcast friends, anyone who's looking to get B-roll of the players' photo station, you got a little bit of an opportunity to do that right now if anyone wants to head out. We'll
Bobby, one of you should go.
You want me to go with my phone, or your phone?
No, just go with your phone.
Good, how are you?
This is actually good pay.
Yeah. I don't mind.
That's the whole.
He said 3 columns a month, which I thought was actually close to accurate. I don't do much sports anymore.
Yeah.
You're there?
He actually, I had an interview, I came from New York, his daughter went to EU, graduated, whatever, something, and my buddy's friend, my son's friend has an interview. He did something because. That's great. When I met him, he knew me. He's good like that. Yeah, he's good like that.
I know he's the leader, he's the heart and soul, but for sure. Yeah, they want to see where the garden is.
Oh, got 10 minutes.
Let me get the.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Me too.
Yeah, Kevin's right next to the boss.
Oh, there you are. Where else in the So we are. Why don't you stay down here? Well, I mean, I'm probably gonna come back. Oh, yeah. Straight down 95.
Stick back.
All right, Chris, good to see you. Hey, you too. Good luck with everything.
Yeah, we'll see you.
What? Yeah, I got some. Grant Williams? Yeah.
Yeah, that would stop. All right, yes, sir.
All right, cool. Just wait, I need this. Thank you.
How you doing?
Good. How's this offseason been for you, and how has the run you guys made to the finals changed your perspective and also your approach of how you've been getting ready for this upcoming season?
Well, I feel like when you're a part of a team like this and you make deep runs, your summers change a little bit. You know, recovery is a big thing, but also trying to find a way how to take a step each summer to better yourself, which ultimately help the team. So.
And how have you taken the news, and how have you guys and also leaders on the floor taken this with no Ime Udoka this season?
You said how are we taking it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really unfortunate situation. You know, but I think we're like the public. We don't know all the facts or anything like that. But right now, we're just trying to focus on what we can focus on, and that's getting ready for training camp and getting ready for the start of the season.
How do you adjust to your third coach in 3 years? And then also, you had a kind of a relationship with Ime going back to Portland and him in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
What's that like to kind of, you know, have someone that you probably look up to maybe
Mm-hmm.
let you down a little bit or do something to, you know, that's not so good?
So I'll answer the first question. It has been tough with 3 coaches in 3 years, you know, building that trust in each one of the coaches. But that's like life in the NBA. I was actually talking to somebody the other day, and then I think it's like in college I had like probably like 60 different teammates, you know, different teammates I had to build relationships with, similar to like building with coaches. And I have known Ime for a long time, and he has been a big figure in the Portland community. But like I said before, we don't know all the facts. The players don't. So it's an unfortunate situation. But right now we're just trying to focus on the basketball side of things and get ready for training camp.
You once again find yourself in a position where they bring in a guard, and you're going to have to fight. And like Gary said, you know, third coach. But do you see this as an opportunity to impress the guy? I mean, he's been here, but to make an impression. How do you see yourself fitting in here, knowing that Malcolm's here and he's you know ahead of you?
Well, I think go through training camp and people compete for spots. Obviously, we have a lot of tremendous players, but you know, I don't go through all summer and all year working on my game to just you know, ride the bench. So for me, I'm just looking forward to the opportunity to go out there and compete and earn minutes and see where that lays. You know, ultimately, we just want the team success, though, so just win games.
You know, you say you don't know what happened yet, but you obviously know something happened that caused him to get suspended. So how do you balance, like, you've had a great experience with him, he's been a great coach to you, and then did something that took that away. So how do you balance how you feel towards him with that?
Like I said, I just don't know all the facts, and so I can't make a judgment on something that I don't really know much about. But like I said, I've just been focusing on the basketball side of things and getting ready for training camp. And, you know, I know the media and everybody's been focusing on that, but for us and the rest of us, I think we're just, you know, trying to get ready to compete for a championship.
Along those lines, so what are some things you've done individually this offseason? What was your approach? Because obviously it was a quick turnaround. You make a deep playoff run to the NBA Finals.
Sure.
And you don't have the same time that you normally do throughout the summer. So how did you approach that?
You know, I was feeling pretty healthy, so I didn't have to, like, you know, recover that much. I was good to go, but I focused on my body, obviously, always working on that. But I think with having some guards on our team, a way I can contribute is by my shooting, but off ball movement. You see guys like Patty Mills. I mean, I'm not trying to compare here, but like Stephen Curry, like how he moves without the ball to get shots. How the Warriors team in general. So I think that's a big area that I try to grow in, knowing that, that's something I can really help this team with. But, I'm always trying to improve.
Have you had, I know it's early, but have you had conversations about that with Joe Mazulla at all? Or no?
No, I haven't. I think Joe got named coach like 2 days ago. So
Yeah, right.
It's a good segue. I was just going to ask you what you can tell us, those of us who don't know Joe at all. What can you tell us about him? Any favorite interactions or things, anything from your experience?
I mean, Joe's an extremely hard worker, but he coached us in summer league when I played. So I think he's going to be an unbelievable coach, and he's intelligent. He knows the game, and I think he is the right amount of like pushing players, but also understanding. I think he's going to be great.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
I know I said that like generally, but
In English, I agree. Yeah, right,
This has been, in general.
Al Horford scheduled next. Al Horford, hopefully in a few minutes.
Al, I was going to dive right in. If you could just speak to the team, what it's been like, what your read of the room is. And I also wanted to ask you specifically about Joe. You're not going to have a head coach who's younger than you are. Just some impressions or anything you can share with us about him.
Obviously, just shocked with everything that went down, and but ready to, just kind of move forward, with our group all summer, just been waiting on this opportunity, to get back, start training camp and get the season going, and learning from last year, but putting it behind us, and now we're finally here. So tomorrow, first practice, it's exciting, and as far as Joe goes, excited for him, excited for this opportunity. He's he's somebody that we all respect, and that we're gonna be rallying behind him, and we're gonna really put in the time and the work to get this done.
Al, for you personally, how are you feeling? This is your shortest off season, right?
Mhm.
So, how are you feeling physically, and do you anticipate that this season will be a different approach to get you ramped up for what you hope is a deep playoff run?
Yeah, John, I feel pretty good. After the long playoff run, took some time off, but then we started to work. Got after it pretty. Really make sure that I prepare myself. To have a full season. I feel great physically. I really put in a lot of time. This summer. Just working on my game and in the gym, and staying after it in that regard, and yeah, for just being ready there for the group, being ready to go through the season, and yeah, just preparing my body, and just nothing different. Just expected to have another season, playing a lot of games, and getting ready. Once we reach that point to the playoffs. So,
Do you anticipate playing like back-to-backs early on?
Yeah, I mean, as long as I've prepared myself in the off season to be in these positions to play. That's what I'm about, and I expect to be playing.
Derrick just said that when he came here that you were the leader in the locker room, and you guys obviously had to do a lot to figure out how to make the whole leadership dynamic work to get the team on the same page last year. So now that you guys are losing your coach suddenly, a coach that didn't seem like anybody really wanted to lose before this happened, what do you feel like your role specifically is to try to rally this team together and make everybody be on the same page?
Yeah, it's just for me, it's continuing to do what I do, and it's helping the group, and not only myself. We have a lot of our guys. They understand how we need to come together and move in the right direction. We have we have some young guys, but they're veterans, as well too. So it's just for us to have the right mindset, and we understand the opportunity that we have in front of us. This is a very special group. We have a really good group, a lot of high expectations, and it's almost like embracing that and going out and getting it done.
Al, first question. Your reaction to being older than your head coach?
The what?
Second time you've heard it.
Oh, the being older. Nah, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's really nothing there. I mean, I can't. That to me, it's actually pretty cool because I've been in the league that long, and still in the league, I feel like going strong. So it's pretty cool.
And then obviously, 15 years in, you've seen it all, but you probably you haven't seen what you just experienced over the last 3 days, how can you, as a veteran, help some of the younger guys, even maybe Jayson and Jaylen, kind of smooth this over and keep it moving? I mean, you have to have a keep it moving kind of mentality in this, I guess, but also kind of recover.
Yeah, no question about it. I think, my biggest thing is always looking at perspective, and understanding what we have in front of us. We have a situation, to your point, but we can't dwell on anything like that. We have all these expectations. We have this new season coming about, and like I said at the beginning, it's like, man, we spend the whole summer, and it's like all I could think about was like, man, I can't wait to this point, really tomorrow. First practice, get after it, start working on it, and start building this back up. It's a big challenge, and last year it took us time to kind of get it going, and this year the hope is that we're in a much better position from the beginning, and that's one of our goals.
Hey, Rob having surgery, starting missing the start of the season here. You've seen him go through a lot of injuries, including the one he had last year. What's kind of your message to him to bounce back from this and move forward? And what do you think your role is going to kind of be without Rob out there to start the season?
Unfortunate there with Rob's situation. But my biggest thing to him was, he has to make sure that he feels right, and that he's able to recover, and that he's healthy, and we know he's going to put in the work, and we have to kind of hold it down until he gets back. So for me, I have to step up a little more. Grant's going to have to step up a little more. Luke, whichever one of our bigs, we just have to step up and do a little more. And even some of our guys, whether it's, JT playing more at the floor or whatever it may be, I'm not sure about all that, but like we all just have to do more and he gets back. And hope that once he's back, he's healthy and he's good to go, and because he's such a big part of what we do. So it just makes everything so much easier for us. So this is just, a challenge that we're facing, and we just have to, find a way to overcome it.
Final two questions for you, First, John. You talk about these challenges, Ime, Rob, all of that stuff. The rest of the East has gotten tougher. There are teams that made some significant moves. Do you guys feel any pressure, because you talked about last year, it took you a little while to get going? If something like that happens again, there's a real risk of falling behind some of the competition in the East. Do you feel pressure to come out right away in the face of all these challenges and perform and not risk falling behind these guys?
No, for me, it's more about how we're playing and how we're building and how we're doing things. I really believe that as long as we are preparing the right way, that we're improving, and that we're playing a certain way. I feel like if we're playing a certain way, how we need to play defensively, engage defensively on offense, playing how we want to play, free, moving the ball, playing fast. If we do those things, I'm good with it. So I feel like as long as we're playing at a good way, I feel like wins and losses, that's going to take care of itself. So my biggest thing is for us to make sure that that we're having starting tomorrow, that we're building everything the right way as a group.
Final question, Butch?
Al, you talked about learning from last year and putting it behind you. But when you look back at the experience before you put that in the closet, how much did it whet your appetite to get back there again? And what did you learn from that experience you waited so long for?
A lot of motivation to be able to get back to that position. But I also look back and I see how hard it is to get to that point, and to understand that we have to start back up and build that up. But I just really motivated experience being in that kind of stage, final stage, and just learn how to continuing to close out game and about being in different situations, and we faced it many throughout the playoffs, first round, second round, conference finals. So just learned a lot about our group, and I felt like we were thrown in very many different situations. So as a group, I felt like we grew a lot, and as a player, I felt like I learned a lot as well.
Thank you all.
All right.
I mean, no, I'm great. I get money off people. I mean, quite a bit. When they were down,
Sam Hauser. Sam Hauser will be our final player today. He'll be up shortly. Thank you.
Who's coming? We got Sam Hauser.
Bad questions, guys. Questions for Sam? Left hand side, Taylor, Snow.
Hey, Sam. It seems like you're in line to earn quite a bit more playing time this year. Just what do you think that you can add to the rotation?
Yeah, you just got to have advantage of the opportunities that are presented, and I'm just excited to do that. Nothing's really given or everything's earned. So see how the training camp goes and see how it's looking. But I hope I'm in the rotation, obviously. But I think I can bring a good aspect to the floor in my shooting ability and spacing the floor, and then just being a good team defender and playing off these guys.
Sam, you were dealing with an injury during the playoffs. How did you bounce back from that, and what were you able to work on over the summer?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I just wanted to get it healthy. I did something to my shoulder, but I'm all good now. So, but after that, just really got to the grind, got back to what I was doing, and just been working hard over the summer in all aspects of the game just to be ready for the season.
And Joe was your coach in Summer League last year. What was kind of that working relationship with him like for that, couple of weeks that he was in charge of that team?
Yeah, no, I liked playing for Joe. I think he is a hard-nosed type of coach. He kind of says it how it is, but he also really cares about you as a person, not only a basketball player, but he really cares about the off-the-floor stuff. So I'm excited for Joe, and I can't wait to see how he takes advantage of this opportunity.
You were there last year to learn firsthand how an NBA team can work in a few different ways, since that they figured out how to actually work together. So what did you see as far as the way that the players came together to create their leadership dynamic, what the coach's role was in that, and how that could be replicated this time under a new coach?
Yeah, I think what was built throughout the season is going to stick regardless of who's coaching, honestly. I think us as players, we grew even tighter and closer and tight-knit throughout the back half of the season and into the playoffs, and I think that run to the finals brought us even closer. So I think just taking some of that momentum from last year and just bringing it into this year, I think we're going to be all right.
Since you're still a young player, you're trying to break into the rotation, what do you need from your teammates and your new head coach and the coaching staff to allow you to be successful?
Just tell me how it is and don't beat around the bush, honestly. Like, tell me what I need to do and how I can help and earn a spot in the rotation, and I'm going to try to do that to the best I can, and hopefully it helps and impacts winning.
Thank you, Sam.
Everybody, that's it in terms of press conferences today. Training camp opens tomorrow. We anticipate media probably arrive around 12.